I want to talk about this with Kamau Bell, host of CNN's United Shades of America. Kamau, how you doing?
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Yeah. You know I got Emmys too now.
Yeah, I've heard about
I'm talking about our promo, but let's get out of the business here. You heard the interview with the mayor and the commissioner. This Starbucks incident is very similar to your own experience, 2015. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I think we have to stop pretending this is about one Starbucks or one coffee shop. These things happen in coffee shops and businesses every day where black people get kicked out or get asked to leave or don't get to do the things white people are allowed to do. In 2015, on my birthday, actually, I was told to leave the Elmwood Cafe in Berkeley, California, because they thought I was harassing my wife and my 13-week-old baby. So,
wow.
and so, yeah, exactly. Which, you know, because I had talked to my wife for about a minute. I had met her and her friends at this coffee shop, and they told me to leave because somebody had complained about me being there. And the thing that I realized, and I think about this with these two black men at this Starbucks, is that I was afraid they would call the cops. I actually thought, like,
no one
what
called
if
the
they call
cops on you, right? No one called the cops, and no one mistakenly thought that you had a gun. But at the time, did you worry about those things?
I did worry about those things because we were in 2015, we were in the middle of Ferguson being in all the headlines. And so I know that that was a possibility. But here's the thing that's so sickening about it, Don. The reason why I don't think the cops were called is because my wife was right there, who's white, and she was able to go, "That's my husband. We're together. I'm his wife." And I think that probably her white skin actually probably took some of the heat out of the situation, which is sad, but true.
After that happened, Kamau, your wife, the owner of the cafe, along with activists, had a community forum on racism at a school in Berkeley. How'd that go?
Well, I just found out that he blocked me on Facebook. The Elmwood Cafe has blocked me on Facebook because I have complained that over the more than 3 years since it happened, they said they were going to do a bunch of things, a bunch of community initiatives. They were going to teach people about implicit bias in the neighborhood, in the city. They've done none of it. And they had a website up until today that I said it's just a white square with yellow around it. They had done nothing about it. And now their solution is to block me on Facebook. And that's what I think we have to talk about with Starbucks. Starbucks is a much bigger company than the Elmwood Cafe. But if we don't keep the pressure on, they're just going to wait for the heat to die down and they'll go back to business as usual. And we can't afford that. And this is not just about coffee shops and these black men. The only reason we know about this is because there was a white woman there who tweeted it out. This is about how black people are treated in this country. This issue is linked to the black teenage boy who was shot at when he was asking for directions. These are all the same thing, Don.
Well, it's interesting because it happened in Philadelphia, right? A city that has a big minority population, a big black population. I used to live in Philadelphia, and people are surprised when I would tell them when I lived there that these racist incidents happen. You think maybe it just happens in the South. And you live in Berkeley, though. I mean, that's a liberal, you don't get more liberal, a liberal bastion. It happens everywhere.
Oh, please, I hope we get more liberal than Berkeley. Please, Lord. Please, Black Jesus. Because don't believe the alt-right hype. Berkeley is not as liberal as they want you to believe it is. And the thing I want to say about that is that, because I just did hear the police commissioner talking in the previous segment, they're acting like that this situation was successful because the black men didn't get mad and the cops didn't get mad. Those black men were in prison or were held in custody for almost 9 hours. They got out at like 1:30 in the morning. How is that a successful situation? If they had if they had led them out of the Starbucks and left them to go on their way with their friend, maybe that's successful. But they actually took them into custody for 9 hours. That can't be success. That these
and they
black
have
men
records now. And I was talking to the mayor and the commissioner after the segment just aired in the commercial break, and they said, well, now they have to get their records expunged. That's a long process. It's very expensive. So they're in the system now, even though, because they were processed, even though they let them go.
Yeah, you can't wipe out the memory of being in jail for 9 hours. You can't wipe out the memory of having to get your record expunged. You can't also wipe out the memory of that video going everywhere that they will be forever known as those two black men in that video.
So what do we do, Kamau?
This is the thing. We can't talk about it like it's a Starbucks issue. This is an America issue. Until America, and specifically American white people, are ready to confront and participate in America's history and legacy of racism and current day of racism, like the white woman in the video did, who took the video, we're still going to be here, Don. We'll be here in a year talking about another coffee shop or something else.
But you know that when we talk about this, right, we're race baiters. Instead of informing people from our own experience that happens, oh, I'm so sick of that. You're race baiters. And listen, every time I have like a group of African Americans on, if there are no people who are not of color, I get the thing, what is this, BET? Why don't you have some diversity? I'm like, do you watch cable news all day? I mean, this is like, you should be applauding me for having these African Americans on TV. Go on.
Yeah, a lot of what goes on in the news media is white guy, what do you think? I don't know, white guy, what do you think? I think this white guy. And so whenever we hear from the voices of people who aren't older white men, we start to think something weird is happening. And I think, again, white people, as Pastor Michael McBride from a church in Berkeley said, white people need to understand that racism is hurting them too. Not the same way it's hurting people of color, but it's actually affecting your life in a negative way. The way the woman in the video understood it and the way that my wife understands it.
Yeah, diversity of opinion is one thing, but we also need diversity in ethnicity as well. Representation, and not just, we have to stop having just conversations. We need to do something about it.
We need to do something.
Yeah.
This is not something we can't act like like Starbucks has to fix this.
Yeah.
America has to fix it.
Well, you're working on that in the new season of Kamau Bell's United Shades of America. It premieres on Sunday night, April 29th at 10 p.m. He